Hello back again. This is Dietrich from D21 and Deb. Double D's.
That's right. Welcome back.
We're going to go back into that subject about internal health and self-esteem and things like that, peeling back the layers. So, Deb, you want to pose your question?
Definitely. Well, on our last episode, kind of towards the end, you were talking about how sometimes you can look away on the outside, but on the inside you don't look the same. And I think that there are different parts to that, and I know for you were probably referring to kind of the supplementation and the kind of bad stuff that you can ingest to make yourself look better. But then there's also the other side of it where we can look healthy on the outside, but we don't feel good. We don't feel like we look good. There's body dysmorphia, which is, again, looking in the mirror and seeing something totally different than you are. So for a lot of men, they look in the mirror and they look too small, and it's, I need to build more muscle and I have to get bigger and I have to get bigger. And women, their body dysmorphia usually lies way more in the, I'm looking in the mirror and I look so fat, I look so big, I have to get smaller and smaller.
Right.
And so I think too, for fitness professionals, because we spend so much time on our bodies, that is a big part of it, is that, there's just this inability to really accept ourselves, or actually, no, not even accept ourselves, the inability to see ourselves, how we are.
How we really are. Right.
But there is this, again, distortion in our minds, and some of us, a lot of us, not all of us, but that we don't look good enough, and we keep striving for more.
Right.
So I don't know, have you ever gotten through that? Is that stuff?
I don't know, gotten through it. I think I've, over the years, I think I have learned to accept a few more things about my body the way it is, opposed to where it used to be or where I think it should be.
Okay.
My wife always say, you're focusing way too much on this. This is the process of life, the process of aging.
Focusing too much on what?
On my biceps aren't as big as they used to be, this kind of thing.
Do you look in the mirror sometimes and think that?
Well, first way, when I was competing, my routine was different too. So, but I don't train the same way. But I recall certain things like, when I was training, my arms were big, they would be, they kind of wake me up in the morning, hit me in the eye or something, right?
Black eye.
But now it's not an issue, but it is an issue sometimes. Like, I'm always kind of, to some degree, looking back as I'm looking forward. You know what I mean?
Looking back at
the way I used to work. Yeah, how I work.
The first video that we did, when I was watching it, I kind of noticed, and it sparked something in my head of when I said something about how, most people will come up to us and go, oh, you look so good, and I remember thinking, someone had come to me once and said, oh my God, if I had your body, I'd be wearing mini skirts, and I'd be wearing big high heels, and, little teeny tops, and little dresses. I would never leave my house in a mini skirt or a dress. I don't wear dresses, I don't wear mini skirts, I don't wear little teeny outfits. And it just is one of those things where, again, it's so interesting because nobody really understands when I say that. They're like, what do you mean? If I had your body, and I'm like, but that's exactly it. It's not so much about our bodies to anybody else. It's our bodies to us. And I think that it's maybe we were uncomfortable too with whoever we were at some point. And that doesn't go away just because we have a different body, Sure. We did this for a certain reason, and again, you touched on that because that was your means to an end for finding an outlet instead of drinking and, kind of going on a bad path. This is what this is what you, but maybe the insecurities from also that part of your life still are in you in some ways.
I'm pretty sure.
That even if you built this body around you, this like amazing, body, and you sculpted it that people see, on the inside, we're still kind of like, oh, you know, I mean.
I think it's a known fact that most people in the industry have those issues. It may be related to different things, I think we touched on that too, in different ways, but it's still the same thing. It's the same demon, if you want to call it that,
Yes,
that they basically have to deal with, you know.
Right.
Regardless of how they call it or how they see it,
Right.
it's still the same internal kind of insecurity or what it may be.
Right. And that's like kind of, you know, again, if you think about the men in that book, I referred to the Adonis effect, where, you know, again, the men want to just get bigger and bigger. It doesn't matter how big you get.
Right.
There's still that small part of you on the inside, that part that doesn't feel good enough.
Right. Yep.
So it's kind of, it's, you know, we all talk about, you know, kind of the mindfulness and the wellness and really loving yourself and self-love, and I get it, and I support self-love and all that stuff, but it's the hardest thing in the world to do. Is to kind of erase those feelings of feeling inadequate or not big enough or not small enough, and really trying to separate it and kind of erase it. It doesn't necessarily always go away.
I think to some degree you have to embrace it, right? Embrace it for what it is.
Yes.
And, you know, I call it tap dancing. You know, you gotta learn how to tap dance your way around it and learn how to deal with whatever it is. I mean, it's almost a part of life. One way or another. It's like a person who smokes, something like that, and they all of a sudden quit. A person who drinks and all of a sudden quits, something like that. It's still a part of them.
Yeah.
Because that was their addiction, right? So whatever that addiction is, you have to kind of, you know, embrace it for what it is and find ways to, you know, adapt.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And that's again why I wanted to start this series.
Right.
Is because, you know, if we talk about it and we acknowledge it and get it out there, then at least what we're doing is helping everybody else out there understand. But instead of just escaping it, because I know, again, when I was younger and starting out as a trainer, you know, it was like, oh no, I'm cool, everything's great, you know, I'm all good. Whereas now I can go, no, you know what, I've had issues with my body, I've had issues with food, I've had a lot of different issues that relate to this that I used to kind of either deny.
I don't have anything with food, I love food.
Exactly. That's what I'll say to my clients. I'll be like, so tell me about your food. And they're like, I love it. And I'm like, okay, let me be more specific. Right? Exactly right. I've had issues with food. I ate a lot of chocolate. Right. So no, but exactly. So, but it's again, you and I being able to be honest about it and saying to people, this is just who we are.
Right. So the conversation.
So, yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So, and we'll be back again next time with more.
All right. Signing off.